Warrior Field here at the Anderson Rugby Complex. My name is Mike Eisenhart, and I will be joined today in the booth again with me is Major Colin McGee. Colin, great to have you back.
Absolutely, Mike.
We just finished up an absolute fantastic showing by the Army women in today's doubleheader, and we are now going to see the second part of the doubleheader with the Army men squaring off against South Virginia University. So what are we in store for? What are we looking for here?
Yeah, Mike. So second contest in program history between South Virginia University and the Army Black Knights. Last year down in Southern Virginia, West Point jumped out on top, 27-0 at the half, finished 48-7. Since that, some interesting developments with Southern Virginia University. New coach, Paul Lasicki, who, if you are a Army or a rugby fiend like us, will know from a USA Rugby legend. Went to BYU, dual sport athlete with rugby and football. Played football for the Chicago Bears. Eventually went over to Europe, played rugby for the Harlequins. Came back, played with the Utah Warriors. Retired this past year and joined the Southern Virginia University coaching staff. This team is not playing in Rugby East this year. They decided not to, so this is technically a non-conference matchup. I think Coach Paul Lasicki is trying to reshape this program, get it back on track to where the standard that he wants it to be. There's 7 freshmen in the starting lineup, 4 sophomores, and it's all about commitment to this new program under Paul.
So a good time to flash the lineups there. So first and foremost, Southern Virginia. We've got Dylan Suapaya, Jordan Masuisui, Melipone Asia, Ali Bird, Hank Svedden, Vilami Asikia, Weston Mehmet, Savia Fitisamamu, sorry. I'm going to try to do 2 things at once here as the game kicks off and Southern Virginia starts. That's Savea Fitisiamu, Josh Nelson, Hanu Coy, Malachi Volavola, Tate Lewis, Jay Coy, Elliot Wells, Tavita Vea, Brighton Olson. As a finisher, John Mann, Riddick Sau, and Tikatani Saki. So that's the Southern Virginia lineup. And now we'll go ahead and flash the Army West Point lineup. Well, we'll get back to the action while we go ahead and try to get that going. But we'll read those lineups. That's Tariq Adams, the senior. Army gets the scrum, and now the ball comes out to the left. First up is a kick. And Schmidlin kicks it, and it's sent back. Ball comes back. It's a nice high ball. SVU in position. Little chip over the top with some pace. That was the 11, Lynch, the senior, who continues to churn on. So Army's lineup, again, this is Adams, Benson, Wagner, Walsh, Hemmen at 5, Anderson, Liskey in the flanks, Thompson at the 8. Kubler, Schrichty at 9 and 10, Lynch and Corbett at the 14 and 11, so the 11-14 wing combo. Trout, Schmidlin in the centers, and Menon deep at fullback. And so the box kick is up and over, and Virginia in position to field it. Decides to try to play it out. It's met by good contact there, but bounces off. And we see SVU has come to play an open style game, and the ball is moving quickly to the width. Referee says there's a penalty we're going to come back for. Could be a no-wrap tackle there in the 22. It did look like 14. Corbett came up. Yep, and that is the signal. No-wrap tackle. So it made contact with the shoulder but didn't get a wrap, and so SVU will have the penalty. with 3 minutes on the clock.
You can already see it a little bit right now, Mike, but you're going to see big carries and big line speed by this SVU team. Explosive, big power, steppers, loose play, want to keep ball alive.
So the kick to touch doesn't find touch, and now it's redirected. And it's the 9 who sends it over back into the space. And it looks like SVU will attempt to bring it back. That one may make it out on the full, does not, bounces in before bounces out. That one sort of stopped in the air. Now, one thing that I think is probably worth noting is that this is an Army lineup that's been different than the last few weeks. Seeing some new names and numbers, and always great to see, and again, shows the depth Army has. But tell us about that and what you might expect, given your knowledge of the team.
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. As I alluded to, this is a non-conference matchup this year.
Penalty arm is out for dragging the ball down, and so Army will play the advantage. Come out the back to the 15, who finds space. That's Menon, the freshman, going to chase his own kick. And referee says no advantage gained. Will come back for the penalty.
Coach Sherman last night spoke about this exact subject that we're talking about right now. An opportunity for many to wear the jersey for the first time. Absolute responsibility, regardless if it's a conference matchup, non-conference matchup. If you're A, B, or C, anytime you put on the Army West Point jersey, it's a responsibility, and it requires a certain standard when you put on that jersey.
So the touch finder does so through Schrichty, who's able to find touch easily and put Army right at the 22 for the lineout. Little adjustment in the channel there by the referee. Now the ball is up and down. Army shows ball and is gaining some meters. SVU doing a nice job to try to hold it up. Now the ball out. Good hard run there by the 12. That's Trout, the sophomore. Now it's out. This is Walsh. Army over quickly. And SVU doing a nice job to try to match numbers. A little bit of a mishandle, but goes backward. And Walsh there to do some cleanup work. That's big work by Asia, the prop, in the defensive tackle. Army looking to find a rhythm. Through Schmidland. Quick recycle and now out into the space. It's Anderson, who gains a few more. Now Thompson. Little flat pass late to Liskey, who's the acting captain today. Now out. There's the pull back pass. Now out into the width. That one was a little forward. That last one creeped a little forward, and referee right there to make the call. So the forward pass will result in a scrum to SVU. And we'll see in this position of the field how they choose to move the ball into space.
You see that attritional rugby style that West Point always likes to play, phase after phase, get those defenders stuck in, get some space out wide. Unfortunate there for the forward pass, but I think West Point would love to keep Southern Virginia buried in their own end, put their playmakers under decisions. Are you going to kick? Are you going to keep ball in hand? Which is where West Point likes to play their rugby.
And so we'll see Josh Nelson put the ball in for Southern Virginia. So the scrum gets reset. Just looking at the teams, you would think that SVU has a bit of an advantage in size. They look to be a bit bigger. Referee blows it up again and says we're going to make some additional adjustments. Not uncommon, early part of the day, usually pretty high energy as you step onto the field, and those first few scrums can get intense. Want to make sure things are really in good position and a nice straight push by both sides. Solid engage there, and that one looks to be hooked. Army on the drive, but the ball comes out. Thought about the kick, mishandled out the back, and the knock-on will result in an Army scrum. So the pullback pass didn't work that time for SVU. Off the hands of Coy, and so Army will get the option for a scrum, and they're put in.
Not a great place for that scrum for SVU, right outside the 22. Limit your options to be able to go straight to touch. But as we said, keep ball alive, keep ball in hand with that SVU. Looked like they were trying to play out. Just a little handling error there.
So Army shows a split. You've got Schrichty on one side with Lynch, and then you've got 4 off to the right. So we'll see what the option is here. Ball is hooked. It's available. Now it's brought out. They do go out to the right. A little bit of a show, decides to keep it himself. That's Trout, who gains a few. Now the ball out. Thompson gets a couple. Little step there in the A channel. Then the flat pass. Did not catch the number, but that was great support. Some work on the ground there. It looks to me like maybe SVU attempted to get in on it, but referee says, nah, the ruck was formed. You can't put your hands in there. You got to get out of the space. So the penalty against Southern Virginia, 5 meters out. And we'll see what kind of an option Army decides to go with. Be setting up for the penalty play. We'll see what we've got. There's the tap. And the first is on the board. That could have been Anderson, the junior. I did not catch the number, but that's going to put Army on first 5 of the day. So after some opening kicks back and forth, a little bit of a rhythm game, Army seems to settle in a little bit there and start to move the ball where they want it to. Get an opportune penalty there, 5 meters out. Punch it in, get the 5. Corbett lines up for the kick. Has a good strike on it, but it looks to have pushed straight in front of the post. So unlucky, but score remains 5-0. Southern Virginia makes their way back, and this is Coy with ball in hand who will get things restarted. Looks to go for some depth. Finds Menon, who sends it back from behind the 22 into touch, where the lineout will go to Southern Virginia. So a strategy that worked out. I mean, I guess you'd say if you're Southern Virginia, you try to pin them deep. If not, you'll take the ball and let's call it a 15-meter gain. But we'll see what the lineouts look like. Lineouts up and in, and Virginia gets back to work. This is Melipona Asia, who barrels through and gets that little offload. Referee says penalty. Did not catch the call. Maybe high. It looked to be maybe signaling high. Asia is how I'm going to pronounce that. Apologies to Pone there. Going to do our best. Now out comes the tee, and SVU will try to get on the board.
Solid line out, quite a dart to that hard carrying ball carrier, which took a number of Black Knights to get to deck. Just another evidence of this regrowth of this Southern Virginia University team. Only 4 reserves over there on their sideline.
Coy drives it through to put 3 on the board and get us at a 5-3 scoreline.
Exactly what they wanted. Kick deep off that restart, force us to go to touch. A solid little line out by Southern Virginia, get it to their ball carriers. Give yourselves opportunities. That's all you got to do.
So Army will get back to work here. And then Schrichty will line up to restart. Ball is up. Now out. And Coy will look to find touch. Does not. So not before a penalty for being offside. So the kick was up, and referee felt that Southern Virginia did not retreat to be behind the kicker, kept moving forward, which is an offside penalty. So Army in an opportune situation here, you would expect them to kick to the corner and set up the maul. And that appears to be what Schrichty will do, the vice captain. Does so with a good strike, and we'll get it right at the 5 meters. So can't ask for more than that. Now the work is to be done in the line out and likely the maul. We'll see.
Ton of options. 5 people taped for the Army attacking line out here.
Goes up. The ball is formed. SVU working hard to be up to the challenge. Now it starts to roll. Gaining some meters. Still moving forward. It's at the back. It's moving forward. Continues to roll. Find its way. And into the tri-zone. Army goes to get 5 more on the board.
The hooker, John Benson, Cleve, first try for the A side in an Army West Point jersey. But as always, those maul tries are forward tries. Takes all 8 of them. Good push.
Yeah, nice job by Army to kind of get their groove there. You saw it go forward. It kind of looked like it might want to stall. Then they sort of found that roll off to the right and then back to the left, kept it on their feet and able to dot it down. That's just what you want if you're coaching the ball. So Corbett will get another shot at the sticks. Not far from the first one. A little bit more toward the middle of the field, maybe right at the 15-meter line. Kick is up. It's got plenty on it this time, and the sticks are up. And so add 2. That brings it 12-3. Army with a strong answer back after the penalty resulted in 3 points for SVU. So happy with that, I'm sure. But now going to have to see if they can find a spark and really get this game going momentum-wise to their side completely.
If you're SVU, you got to think you're kicking deep again, seeing what West Point can do to find touch.
There it is, well inside the 22. It's Menon again. Big chase by the 12. That time finds touch easily and clears it out near the 40-meter line, so 10 meters off midline.
You got to make SVU earn it. Included in that forward pack is Liam Walsh, 6'5", from Northern California, a great line-out operator, wearing the black scrum cap today.
They look to go up against him in the front. He gets a hand on it. It's bobbled backwards, says the referee, so it's okay. SVU will retain. And now here comes that big, strong prop once again. Not held in the tackle, gets back to his feet, then looks to move the ball. Ball is sort of fly hacked through, and now SVU winds up with it. A little bit of a dump tackle there. Referee says we're okay with it. The feet were low enough. Big contact there. That's Ball coming out to the left. Little offload in contact, and now the 6. Sikia. There's that flat offload. SVU now trying to gain some meters and get some momentum. They find Coy, who looks to step through. Finds that final offload and back to the inside. One pass, maybe too many, but he's back there to clean it up. Good job by Coy, who now swings it way out into the width is the prop. Asia, 3 meters out, 2 meters out, and now let's see if the big bodies can get the job done for SVU. Very near the line, and that one is able to get over. We'll see if we can get a number on that, but that adds 5 to the score line, making it 12-8.
This is a bit of clash of styles, particularly in attack. SVU's down there wheeling and dealing, breaking tackles, keeping the ball alive, as opposed to the more traditional Army attritional go forward ball. It'll be interesting to see how this develops throughout the day.
Yeah, I mean, to me, one of the things that sort of jumps out as we wait for Coy to finalize his approach is fatigue is going to come into play here, right? It's going to be a factor. It's a warm day. Not bright sunny, it's sort of overcast, but it's going to be a factor. And if bench at SVU is a little light, that's certainly an important thing. The charge down attempt is not successful, and that kick does not result in points. Referee signals for a water break, so we'll go ahead and pause the clock on our end. And just on cue, as we said, it's going to be a warm day. It looks like we'll take that first water break.
It looks like the SVU player down toward the West Point try line is going to try to stay in the game. It's that
it looks like the hooker, Jordan Masui, who was down, getting some attention, but is now back on his feet.
So if I was down in that West Point huddle right now, I think the message is that they're probably getting from the coach's box up here. You got to make your tackles. You got to make your one-up tackles. It's hard. It's hard work, but we got to hang on. We got to throw those double shots in so they don't get that opportunity to keep that ball alive.
Yeah, I think that's a feature, right? You'd expect that adjustment to be made. You've got to start getting multiple bodies on these guys. They're big. They're running strong. They've got their shoulders forward. They're churning their legs, and they're very comfortable in contact making that final offload. So, you know, I mean, you got to get in there and you got to hit them back. Got to get those shoulders going the other way. So we'll see if that adjustment happens, and certainly expect this group to be up to the challenge. So referee's doing some conferring there at the center of the field as the teams get some water. And this is a good time to just say thanks for joining us here on Army West Point Athletics Night Vision. So the whistle sounds and referee calls teams back to the center. And good time for a restart after the water break. That kind of works out well. So opportune, and Army will kick off with a score line of 12-8. And the field clock showing 19:45, and ours showing just a bit lower than that. Go ahead and get that rolling, and of course the official clock being kept by the referee. Army goes to the left side of the screen. Really nice aired out ball, but maybe just a little too much leg. Makes it to touch on the full, so referee will ask, what's your choice? And right on cue, Southern Virginia says, we'll scrum at the center. That's unfortunate. Sometimes just a little bit too much on it and finds its way to float out of touch. So for those at home who don't know the game real well, ball must travel 10 meters on a restart. but has to land in the field of play. Can't make its way directly out. So Southern Virginia will get the scrum at the center of the field, and they are showing a stacked scenario between the 10 and the 15, becoming more and more common, and one center on each side, it looks like, and one winger on each side. So a split attack, and Army will have to come up and make those isolated tackles. Referee says we're okay. Now the ball comes out, left side of the screen. Coy rolls, 15 joins, and now tries to find the wing and the width. Little kick attempt. The chip doesn't find its way through. It's caught up by the defense. Now SVU gets back to work. Little show and go, and that time more black bodies on the ball there. Now out. Again, that's Asia, who we've called his name a few times. Good work there. Now the ball comes out. Coy able to get it out of his hands. Good, quick hands. And now SVU on the attack. Looks to have been a sub in the game, Riddick Sau. Ball is out. It's picked up, and now it's recycled. This is the 8. Fatisimanu, still on his feet. Gains a few. So SVU looking to play that quick game. Now, in comes the charge. That could have been Wagner, who's trying to drive that ruck back and does so. Now the ball comes out. Army wins it. Looking to find some space. This is Schmidlin. Now Liskey. Now the ball comes out. That could have been Benson, the hooker. Referee has the arm up for the penalty. Says you were killing it. Laying on the ground there. You got to get out of that space. And so Army will get a chance. Referee says we're going to pause the time there. Confer. And let's see. We got a player down in the corner and getting some attention. So we're going to stop the clock there and make sure the Army player can be attended to.
So I should note that this is Southern Virginia's second run out. They played James Madison a couple weeks ago, won 75-14. So this team can put points on the board, particularly the number 8, Fiti Samanu, had a dominant performance that day, and I think his impact is already showing earlier in this game. Looks like we have a blood sub for the Black Knights.
We'll try to get that number for you, but going to get some attention to the player who needs it, and Army will resume with ball in hand, likely kicking for touch. So 17 enters the game. That's Mikey Smith, and the clock restarts. It's a solid strike, but doesn't find touch. It's fielded cleanly by Vaya, who now swings it completely across the field. That one looked forward, and referee agrees. Lost the handle there a little bit, and ball traveled forward. And it looks like the clock is running on the blood sub, so we'll see how long before this player can re-enter the game, and certainly we hope he will.
And that player is Tariq Adams, one of the props for the Black Knights tonight.
So the scrums form, and Army will get the put in. Referee says that's a free kick. You came in early. And so 9 decides to take, but referee says you got to come through the mark. So unfortunate, good idea there by the freshman, Porter Kubler. Oh. Now the ball is through. It's handled well by Schmidlin. Well done, who then brings it to Hemmen, who will dot it down. So good handle there by Court Schmidlin to keep it alive. The ball was a little low. He's a tall guy, but he still got down for it, able to pull it out of his fingertips and get it to George Hemmen, who's going to dot it down and get a few more for the Black Knights.
A silky line by Nick Trout there, some show and going, giving the offload to Court Schmidlin, gets in that open field, and then George Hemmen dots it down right in the middle.
And it looks like for the effort, they're going to give Schmidlin a shot at the sticks there, so he'll get a couple. Nice way to reward the selfless offload at the end. Court the lefty. Is able to convert. So Schmidlin gets the extras, brings the score to 19-8. And Army looking to get right back to work. So Coy will get us restarted here. Last couple of times has really tried to leg it out and get it down deep, and does so again. And once again, the target is Menon, who puts it on his foot, and this time gets all of it. Really does a nice job clearing. So third time's a charm there. Is able to find his foot and really get a nice leg on it. So hats off there to Ilan Menon, who's playing 15. So SVU gets the line out, but certainly not in the attacking position they've had the last couple of times. 60 meters away from the try line at Army's 40. It's in. Well done to get up and get a hand on it. It looked like it was floating off center, but Army able to get a hand on it and steal it. So now the ball comes out. Nice little pullback pass there by Wagner. Trout looking again. Put Schmidlin through again. And then back. Real good handle out to Menon. This is 11. Lynch gains a couple. So really good handle there by the group. Now the ball out. Wagner again. Brings it out. They're looking into the width. Swinging it from side to side. This is Benson, who is working and does a nice step to find the try zone and just has to finish it by dotting it down. So add 5 more. That was a nice series by Army. They moved the ball from side to side on the pitch. Some nice offloads, good timed passes. Really looked like they had a rhythm.
Yeah, and it's crazy how just the small margins affect the game. So SVU was really good at responding because they were kicking that ball deep and close to that sideline. This time it's probably 5 meters more open to the field, which gives Menon a better angle to touch. He kicks it a little bit deeper, and we're able to compete, and it's a whole different story there. But as you said, Mike, great phase play, back and forth on the field. John Benson, pretty athletic move over there to dot that down in the corner.
So Schmidlin once again will do the honors, try to get the extras. This one a bit further into his range, about 5 meters from the try line. Kick is up. It's a good strike, just falls short. And so the score remains 24-8 with 27 and change gone. Referee says there's a substitution. We'll see if we can catch that number.
Looked like it was 3, Mike.
3 going off.
3 went off for SVU.
That's Asia, who's had some very hard runs. So hoping he's okay. And if you're the guys tackling him, you maybe don't feel terrible about seeing him step off. He's a hard runner. Now the ball comes to the other side of the field. They decide to test the right side of the field. And that looked to be Strickty, who sends it back and does a nice job at finding touch. So Army's starting to feel a little more comfortable under that ball and find touch.
Really well done by Colby Strickty there. Now, I think there was 2 additional subs behind the tight head prop, which is a bit interesting considering you only have 4 total subs over there on the SVU line.
So we'll see if we can get those numbers and names to you. Seeing 21, I think we already called him out. Riddick Sau. I do see 3 still in the field here, so let's see if we can get some numbers. At any rate, it's SVU's line out, and the ball comes in. They throw to the back of the line out. It's taken well. Coy comes on at pace. runs into some defense. Thompson comes in and challenges the ruck, but they're able to hold it. Off the foot, it's tipped into Kubler's hands. It's just a foot race at this point, looking to get there. It's going to be challenged, but not before dotting it down. Really well read. And got to give him a shout out for the hands. That was an interesting little play there. So ball comes in. It's a little bit of a choppy pass. Player sticks out a foot to try to get it, and it just pops right up into the freshman's hands, who makes a dart down the sideline. Brings the score to 29. And now from this side of the field, it'll be Nick Trout doing the kicking. So almost from the edge, Trout's going to have to really get into this one. Gets a solid strike on it, but a little bit off the mark. And so the score remains at 29-8.
A little kicker by committee today. We've seen Corbett, Trout, and Schmidt.
So SVU makes their way back to the center. And we'll see what Coy decides this time. So far, the consistency has been dropping it deep. Gone to the left side a couple of times, and this time a little less deep. Now it comes back out. And it's Trout with the ball in hand. Not able to get it onto his foot. So Army will go ahead and try to get some position and get themselves set in the attack. Solid contact off the base. Could hear it in the booth. Now the box kick looks to be lined up. Little fake, comes out the other side. Again, Schmidlin handles. Player in the width. That's Lynch. Takes it in hard. Referee says that's a penalty. Did not release. And so, might expect the touch finder here from Hanu Coy. Does so. And the AR says that crossed at about 22 meters out.
The scrum half decision was interesting, Mike. We've seen him play that high ball that they like to compete for. We've seen him kick the deep ball. Now this looked like they were setting up for the box kick and then playing out the back, which more options the better, I guess.
SVU tries to draw the early one, but the big man gets his hand on it. That's Lynch. That's Walsh. Now the kick straight up. Referee says, fortunately, you were off. Now the ball comes out. SVU going to try to play it quick. This is the flanker battling Asikia. Now back out to the big man, who loses it on the way down. And let's see if that's going to be a try. Was it touchdown before he lost the handle? Referee will confer with the AR. Looked to be a knock on from here, but that does appear to be the call. So there's a knock on there in the act of scoring. That's unfortunate for the player in white, which again now is going to result in a goal line dropout. Ruling there's a little bit funny if you don't know the rules. The attacking team brought the ball into the try zone where they lost it. And that's why it's a goal line dropout. Dropout makes its way out. Little kick over the top. Very comfortable there as the 23, but is obstructed, bumped, and referee says that's a no-wrap tackle. So that's a penalty. And so now, looks to be Coy once again going to try to put it in the corner. And let's call that maybe 12 to 15 meters out. SVU will take the ball over.
This will be the 6th line out for SVU, 6 attacking line out for SVU, 1-3, loss 2. This is one's pretty important.
As you said before, you got Walsh there on Army in the front, really trying to get up. He's a big guy, so that's helpful. This time they go over the top of him, and they find Asia, the 3, who's just barreling forward. Referee says did enough to get it down, and that's going to put 5 on the board for SVU. Brings the scoreline at 29-13 with 35 gone, or thereabouts, and the kick to follow. So that formula is one that I would imagine seems almost just too natural given the talents that you have on the field. Asia is a big guy, and he's just barreling through low to the ground and scoring those points. Coy lines up for the kick. And it's up, and it's through. So that brings the score to 15 for SVU, and 29-15, we've got ourselves a game.
Yeah, a bit of a challenge. West Point trying to clear their line there. They had a little box kick that SVU went up and played really nicely on the 22. Then the no wrap penalty just sort of compounds.
So with about 4, let's call it, maybe 5 to play, Army will send the ball back through the leg of Schrichty. Restart is high and contestable. Big job there by the Army player to get down there and make that tackle. That appeared to be Corbett. The handle is lost. SVU is able to regather, but not before they're in dangerous position. A little bit of a box kick there. Taken. Now it's Wagner who's coming through at pace. And this is a nice offload there to Lynch, who finds the try. Well done. Now, if I have this correct, Wagner, the prop, is new to the sport. I believe you told us that last time we were here. He did not look new to the sport with that final offload. He took that thing at pace, very calm, gave the offload. Lynch dots it down.
Yeah, initially a recruited football player to the academy as a running back, comes down to the team as a wing, has now found his home as the tight head prop today. So quite a story.
You know, those wing props. It's a good basket of skills to have. Schmidlin on the kick, this time not on target, and so the score remains at 34-15.
John Benson's blocked down there. The 3 black scrum caps today. Liam Walsh and John Benson are wearing the same one, but John Benson blocks that kick, puts SVU under pressure. They probably try to exit too early. Colby Schrichty's well under that ball, gives it to Dakota Wagner, and then, as you mentioned, some great skill to give that offload to Nick Trout. But maybe just a little bit more patient in your red zone for SVU to get that exit that you want.
Yeah, fair. Take a second, get your faculties, try to get that box kick over the top. So Coy sends it again. That one looked to hit the ground first, but Menon able to find his foot and clears. Not quite out. It's fielded. Good job by the 15, Vaya, to keep it in and keep the game going. That's a good positive tackle by the jerseys in black. Now up with some line speed. Solid hit by Liskey on the 10. This is Fiti Samanu. Ball over. That one lost, but backward. Little show and go again by the 8. Now out to the left side. And once again, questionable double movement there. A little rolling on the ground. Referee says you're okay. Continue. Now it's out. Coy with a little crossfield kick over the top. Got the space if he can get the bounce. Bounces nicely. It's fielded, but not before he's brought into touch. So good job by Sau to get down there and field that kick, but equally good by the winger, which should have been Lynch. Drive him out, wrap him up, drive him out, and now Army will get the chance to exit.
Different than a lot of other games that I've heard up in here. You can hear Coach Sherman like yelling those orders to that defensive line, whether he wants them to fire or rise. Pretty interesting.
Now the ball out. Once again, this is Lynch, who attempts to put it on his foot. Runs into contact. Referee says there's a penalty there, though, offside. So off the foot, I would imagine, of the SVU player, which means that now you're in an offside position. Unfortunate, but it happens. So Schrichty will try to find touch. And does so. Giving Army the line out with about 35 meters to go. As Thompson tips through the hands. It's a live ball on the ground. Fiti Siamanu able to get over it. Referee says that is going to be the half. So on the knock-on, we have the half. And so we will send the teams to the side for 10 minutes. But not before we once again thank you for joining us here on Night Vision, Army West Point Athletics YouTube channel. This is the second part of a doubleheader today for the men and women. Women walking away from Brown with a 60-0 score line, and the men trying to complete the job with a 34-15 score line over Southern Virginia University. Thanks for joining us. We'll see if we can queue up some replays for you at halftime, and we'll be back in about 10 minutes. All right, welcome back, sports fans. Welcome back, rugby fans. As the Army men's rugby team makes their way back to the field, and the clock on halftime ticks down with under a minute, we're going to get back to action here. Just a quick recap: we got 40 minutes on the board, 40 minutes left to play, and 34-15 is the score line. Southern Virginia University in the white with the maroon trunks, also the Knights. Sort of confusing, but the Knights, Black Knights playing the Knights today. And we'll switch sides of the field. Army in black. We'll try to get an idea if there's any substitutions here or when they'll start showing up. I do see number 16, Luke Johnson, on the field. And possibly some others. So sort of see where things go. Look to be that maybe Schrichty is taking over the captain duties. Saw him chat with the referee there. So it's possible that Liskey is off the field. So what are the keys to the game so far? What are you seeing, and where do we go from here?
An interesting first half, Mike. I thought it was well played on both sides. Like we talked about, these different styles of play. West Point cannot drop to the way that Southern Virginia wants to play this game. We're hearing it up here from the coach's box. This line speed, getting on top of those hard ball carriers for Southern Virginia will be important in this second half. Essentially, all statistics are essentially everybody held serve in terms of penalties, errors, scrums, and lineouts.
So the kick is up, and it's fielded cleanly by the 7, Weston Mehmet. Now the kick return. The 9 grabs it out of the air, does a good job to defend the first, stays on his feet. And now Army will get back to work. Now we come out to the right side of the screen. Good catch there by Trout, a shirt tackle. And so Army over. Now the ball out to the left. That's Hemmen, who's had a try already today. Now off to Walsh. And so the locks working together. This is Benson, who steps into the A channel, but not able to get past the first defender. Big contact there. That's Mikey Smith, the 17 jersey. Pick and go is on. That looked to be Wagner. It's met with good contact. Now, look to set up the box kick. It's the 9. Porter Kubler puts it on his foot. Ball is bounced right into Schmidlin's hands. He seems to be in the right place today. And now, that's the winger, Corbett, working. Thompson over it. Got a player down for SVU, unfortunately. Ball comes over the top. This is Anderson. Now they dig it out, look to bring it over the top. Unfortunately, that time Schmidlin couldn't handle it, but not before a penalty is called. So the time is off as we get some attention for a player down for Southern Virginia. So nice job really defending that box kick. Box kick goes up. Army puts big pressure coming down. It's mishandled, and Schmidlin just kind of in the right place at the right time. Seems to be a trend today.
Yeah, and to confirm those substitutions, Luke Johnson in for the captain, Dylan Liskey. As you said, Mike, Colby Schrichty now in the captain role, and it looks like Tariq Adams. Day is done with Mikey Smith in a loose head prop.
Unfortunate for Adams, who sure was excited to play and didn't get a ton of time before was subbed off for blood, so hopefully he's okay. Did not get the word on how he's doing. Currently getting some attention by the trainer is Elliot Wells from Southern Virginia, who is working his way back to his feet. Definitely seems to be tender on that left leg. So see if he's able to stay in the game. We'll hope so for him. And looks like the physio there to make a call says okay to continue. So we will get back to it.
Yeah, really unfortunate to see Tariq come off, a dependable reserve in that top 23, getting the opportunity today to put some more minutes on to like feel how going longer into a game and starting a game feels. This is important for your depth in your front row.
So the clock has restarted, and apologies. I thought 14 was going to re-enter the game. That's Thompson on the take, who's able to get it down. We'll add 5 to the scoreboard, bringing it up to 39. So Jordan Thompson, the 8-man, picks and goes, drives on and gets it down for Army. Just before that, as I was saying, the 14 for SVU has made his way off the field, and it's going to get some more attention.
Jordan Thompson, a local product from Highland Falls, James I. O'Neill High School. New to rugby last year, a great football player for James I. O'Neill.
So Schrichty, now in the captain duty, will line up for kick. It's up. Solid strike, but pushes right of the post, and that'll keep the score line at 39-15 with 43 gone.
A little bit more detail about Jordan Thompson and Luke Johnson. Both got the opportunity to go to New Zealand this past summer and attend a Crusaders camp, which was an amazing experience for those guys. You learn rugby quick down there.
That is a cool place to go if you get the chance. I'm fully jealous. This is Vaya who takes the kick, and that one does not travel 10. Army thought about playing it there, but then thought better of it. Referee did blow the whistle, and so it'll come back for the scrum center. So we'll see what kind of shape Army is showing. So here comes the scrum. Ball out to the right side of the screen, out to Trout. Sheds one. Virginia player over it quick, but lost his feet, had to come back. This is Thompson, the try scorer. Now out. Schrichty finds the deep man, and Schmidlin, who brings it out a little further. This is Lynch. A little bit of a foot race here. Vaya gathers. Good step and finds the outside channel. Looks for the offload, but Army's standing in the right place once again. So defensive lines are good. Unfortunately, lost the handle there, and so that knock-on will result in a scrum to Army. It's a critical part of the open field defense, something that you see sometimes is got to get in that space. Those offloads are going to come. You got to get in that space. And we see 2 new jerseys step onto the field. This is number 22, Nolan Greenwood coming on. And it could have been 18, Phil Roll. I'll have to get a double check on that one.
I think that's right. Phil Roll on for Dakota Wagner at tight head prop today. And then Nolan Greenwood slotting in at outside center for Court Schmidlin.
So Army will have the ball and we'll put it on the scrum. And we'll see what kind of attack they can get going here. This is Trout, who looks, pulls it back, now finds the space out into the width. Had to slow his run a little bit as Corbett, but he's working hard to find some space to work with. Now the ball out. Nice ball work across the field. They find Hemmen. Quick recycle that time. Now the ball out. Good sidestep. And the offload. Out into the space. That could have been Benson who keeps it alive. 7 meters out is Army, and they're going to start to drive. Hard drive there. That could have been roll. Thought about it, showed, decided to bury it his head, gained a few. Let's call it that, still 7 meters out. Now the quick hands, really well done to get that one off. And this one could go straight in, and that is Corbett for 5. Did not catch who made that quick little offload. We'll see if we can get that, but that quick tips pass was huge to keep that ball alive. Southern Virginia sends that blitz player, that gunner coming through, try to break up that play, and they were able to just get it beyond. Corbett will keep the ball and do the honors himself. And it is not a small strike. He is, let's call it 2 meters off the line of touch. Looks to me like Chris Newcomb is getting ready to maybe make his way on. I see him there warming up. Corbett about to step out of the shadows and give this a strike. Does so. Really solid strike, but just a little too much across the far post and not able to convert. Plenty of leg. I mean, absolutely crushed that kick, but just a little offline.
Some pretty clinical attack there. Attritional, using the whole width of the field. Interesting to see George Hemmen in the lock position today. He adds some depth everywhere. Front row, back row, and now in the locks. It's always great to have a versatile player like that.
He's making something out of his touches, that's for sure. Getting some meters every time. Ball is up, and it's fielded by Trout. He's met with some strong resistance, but keeps his feet. Good job by him to drive on. That's Walsh trying to get a few. Now the pick and drive. And looks like maybe we're going to see this box kick. At least it's being lined up that way. And there it is. It's up and over. It's a nice hang time. Gives Corbett some time to get down there to create pressure. Via sees the pressure and decides to put it back over. Kubler cleans it up. Brings it out to Schrichty. Puts it over the top. Tries to find some space. Gets a roll. This is 23. Tikatani Saki, who's going to have to send it back. Does so. It's fielded. That's Schrichty once again. Looking for some space. Nice job to wrap him up there by the 9. It's Josh Nelson. Army back going forward. Now the ball out to Thompson. Still playing the left side of the field. Looked to me like Via had hands, but lost his feet, and so had to let go. Now Army back to work. The latch and drive, trying to get the physics on their side, works out okay. Big jump forward, but that creates a gap, and Benson does a nice job to keep his feet. He's definitely done some acrobatic work today, both in the try scoring and also just to keep his feet there. Sort of an awkward contact. Hope he's okay. Thompson steps through, bounces off a couple, continues to grind on. Ball's available. Comes out the other way. Now brought back. That's Mikey Smith driving on. A little bit of a chip up. Crossfield, there it is. Nice idea by Corbett to send it back. Trout finds it. still alive. That's Menon. It's cleaned out, but now it's a bit isolated and looked like the three had hands on, but lost it backward. And so SVU will get the ball. This is the 8, Fitisi Amanu. Now the ball out. Thought about swinging it again, took it into contact. Solid job there on the tackle by Smith to get him down. Army has numbers on the outside, so the ball has to come back inside, spilled forward, and so it's a knock-on advantage. Referee says still playing advantage. Now the ball is up. That's Hemmond continuing to try to churn. Referee still has the arm out. Over the top. This could be Lynch looking for it. Tries to find some speed. Does a nice job there. Both wingers do a nice job. Real low tackle by Vola. Now the ball's still alive. Dropped back out to Trout. Looking for something. Doesn't like what he sees and decides to take it into contact. At this point, I would assume the advantage is over, but there is an arm out. So not sure if we're playing the first advantage or if there's a penalty on. That's Johnson. Now back to Thompson. Pulls it back to Schrichty. The flat ball, Trout, but that one, she says, is forward. So let's see what the call is here. We've got the penalty arm. We were playing advantage, possibly not rolling, and we're going to stop the clock there while one of the players gets some attention.
That was quite a long passage of play.
Yeah, we should have been counting phases because it was about 30.
Unfortunate to see Liam Walsh down over there. Took quite a shot by that 8-man as he was dishing the ball out. Couple more reserves, some finishers coming off. John Benson, Keegan Lynch. Thought John Benson had quite a day as a plebe with the jersey on for the first time. Went to high school in Ireland. Saw him playing out in those wide channels. Kind of reminded me of a bit of Dan Sheehan over there. Maybe that's a bridge too far.
Not a bad comparison if you're Benson.
Yeah, but was doing some pretty good stuff out there, which is great to see. Keegan Lynch brings pace, energy to the game as always.
So I saw Landon Lasky jump on there. I did not see the other number that entered, but we'll get that for you. And looks to me like Walsh could be making his way to the sideline. That could be it for him. And the penalty will now be taken by Army. And they look to find touch. So good position on the field. Could have easily chosen to go for the sticks there, but a little bit of show of strength here. Let's put it on the sideline and see what we can do with our line out, maybe the ball. Now the ball is in. It's cleanly fielded, and there's the ball. SVU not initially in a great position to defend the ball, but they seem to have gotten their bodies around it. It is moving forward, and Army looked real strong the last time they got some traction on this. And they're back to it. Now it's found ground. Referee is satisfied with the way it found ground, and so now the ball comes out. Trout looking, that was real high, it appeared, almost like the 7 there was on top of his shoulders. Once again, we've got Hemmond driving on. Ball available out to the left. Through the hands, unfortunately. There it's hacked on. Now it's going to be a foot race. Ooh, possible tackled out the ball. Referee says you were close enough. So this broken play does not result in a try. Great work by SVU to get down there with numbers. This time it's Fitisi Amanu who jumps in and touches it down. So good passage of play there for SVU. Looked to me like possibly the contact could have been a no-wrap tackle, but referee said you were close enough to play the ball, so I guess we're okay to play on there. And the score is now 44-20, so congratulations. One thing I'll say I really liked about what they did there is they really worked to get there in support. They had numbers around that ball on a broken play, and that is never easy to do.
That's right, and stayed with it. pretty impressive. It does appear like SVU is doing some rolling subs, which is not surprising considering they only have 4 reserves.
So apologies to the player in 23. We don't have you on the roster. I have a 22, but not a 23, and try to give you where the credit is due, but this player lines up for the kick. Clock continues to tick at 55, almost 56. Strike is up. Does not find, so pushes it across the post there, and that's going to keep the score at 44-20. So Army will make their way back to the center of the field and get this thing restarted. And we'll see what we've got in store. Schrichty, the acting captain, has the ball. And looks to me like Max Welling, who's entered the game, is ready to get down there and create some pressure. It's Corbett getting there first. Ball is dropped, and referee says that is a knock. That's unfortunate. Just a fraction of a second. That pressure can definitely do that to you. See a team coming down on you hard. It's hard to keep the concentration. So 23 will shake it off, and Army will have the scrum.
Third put in for West Point this half. If West Point ever does an 8-man pick, it's typically deep in the green zone of their opposition. It would be fun to see Jordan Thompson in a little bit of space out to the right here.
So as the train rolls by here at Warrior Field, ball comes out to the other side of the field, the left, and it's Trout who gains a few. Good work on the ground there to get it set. And now Thompson has the ball. So the pick and go wasn't on, but he still winds up with the ball in hand, 6 meters out. Now it's recycled through the hands, finds Menon, and that one unfortunately is forward. So referee says that one traveled forward in the air, and so it's going to be a scrum to Southern Virginia. We should contact the shipping container company and see if we can get a sponsorship. I mean, this is good work by them, but the unofficial sponsor of the day, as Army lines up for the scrum. So it's the 9, Josh Nelson, who will put the ball in. Now it's out. Swing it out the back, cross the field, and looking to work this space. Good job in the double tackle there. Once again, this is the 8, Tisia Manu, who's driving on. He's had a game. He's really a hard-working runner. Now cross the field to the other side. This is Coy. Good job there in defense by Army to get in there, but the ball is knocked, and so it will be an Army scrum. Coy has real good feet. You can see when he gets out in that space, he is a threat every time, and Army has done a nice job of really trying to match the speed and the lateral movement, and they're really able to sort of put a shoulder on him. I would imagine that if there's a defensive breakdown, this is a guy who scores a lot of tries. He seems like he's got real good lateral feet. So Army with the ball in hand will line up for the scrum, and we'll see what the replacements, the finishers coming on, can do here in this scrum. It's a solid drive. It's pushed back, but not before. Referee says, no, that was not straight. And so maybe a bit of a lift. And this is Nolan Greenwood breaking into space, finding something, able to find the offload to Kubler, apologies, and keep the ball alive. So well done. Yeah, but not before a penalty. Let's see what the penalty call is. Assuming not releasing, I did not see. Playing on the ground. So possible too many movements there on the ground, and that's going to be a penalty. And SVU will send it back and try to find touch. Does so. The flag is up. And we're going to pause there for the water break. We'll resume with an SVU line out just about 41, 42 meters from the try line. So a good half of rugby, good quarter of rugby, 3/4 of rugby, let's call it, 60 minutes gone by both squads. I think for me, the story of the game right now is when Army is finding those attacking channels, they seem to be moving the ball nicely, getting it through the hands, bringing it back, and finding the open player that's resulting in tries. And that's always good to see, right? You're not seeing people get that try line fever where they're just trying to barrel it down and run it themselves. SVU on the other side of the ball, for me, has clearly the creativity. They're trying, they're finding sort of that play what you see, find that space, and they've tried a lot of options, but just not enough to get through the Army defense. How about you?
Yeah, much of the same, and maybe that creativity has slowed down as you only have a 19 players dressed for the SVU side, but some exceptionally important 20 minutes for a lot of these players in the black jerseys as they try to make their mark, try to seize the opportunity to put their name up for the top 23 for the rest of this fall and into next semester. The team travels down to Mary Washington in Fredericksburg, Virginia, as they resume Rugby East play. So some really important minutes this last 19 for these players to put their hands up to see what they can do the rest of the semester.
I've not followed Mary Washington this season, but I know they have had a history of putting some dangerous sides out there. So what do you know about that game? Anything?
They have always a formidable opponent. I think Navy played them, put a little bit of a working on them. So we'll want to do the same next week down in Virginia. Gave a lot of our players, our top 23, the opportunity to take a break this weekend after a tough result at Life. So I know they're all itching to get back out there and looking to put a quality effort in.
It's a great point, and it's one that we hadn't mentioned today. Again, we've mentioned previously that this is a doubleheader, both teams, but both Army sides looking for a bit of a bounce back today. The women lost a close one to Harvard, and the men unfortunately fell to Life. So certainly we expected them to come home, sort of regather and get back to work, and so far both have lived up to the challenge. Throw is in. SVU is able to retain. Great work there by the Army defense to knock Tisiamanu back. Now the line speed is on, and we see that pressure creates problems for SVU. Ball still alive. It's a bit of a mess, but this time it's out. This is Menon. Gets it out to Corbett, it looked like. Now the ball comes out again. Finds Thompson. And now the ball out again. Schrichty looks inside. Hemming again. Now to Thompson. Good footwork, gains a few more. 5 meters in. Questionable if there are players on the ground, but the ball's available. Now it's out. Grind it over, just looking to find the try zone, and does. So that's going to add 5. And bring Army up to 49.
what I thought West Point did really well during that segment of play is they worked really, really hard to get into shape. There's been some broken play throughout the day. It hasn't been your typical pattern, but they're just working really, really hard to get into position to be able to continue that attack. And I thought they did that really well right there and took advantage maybe of a SVU team that isn't moving to position as quickly.
Yeah, I was impressed with the line speed that set that in motion. Army looked to really come up and fire up, and that put SVU under some pressure there, handling those balls, and it just got a little choppy. They took it over, and just phase after phase. Looked to me like the 9, Kubler, has made his way off, so we'll get a number on who will take that rollover. This kick is up and through, so that's going to add 2 more and bring it up to 51-20. That could be Braxton Blind, who has made his way onto the field, wearing the 21 jersey, who will take over the scrum half duties.
Might think it's Blind, pronounced Blinn, twin brother on the team as well, plebes. Their father was the captain of the Army West Point men's rugby team in 2002.
Wow, that's amazing. Apologies for the mispronunciation. Good to see him out there.
Identical twins, by the way. Doesn't make it easy for Coach Shinsman.
Gets a little confusing. Now the ball is up. It's fielded. Corbett drops the shoulder to get the ball back in play. Now, ball is out. That looked to be Phil Roll. Ball's available. Going to have to pull that out. SVU player on the wrong side of the ball. Referee had the arm out. Not sure if that call is going to be made or not. Does look like the arm is out. So maybe some advantage here. And thought about the box kick. Now out the back. That's the 15. Menon bringing it out into space. Going to try to catch a number of who that is out there grinding on. That could be Greenwood. Now the chip over the top. It's fielded. Via. Again, another player showing great feet. On the front foot again is Army, looking to come up and hit that line speed hard again. You can really see the body position, so clearly that's been a part of the plan here, and there they go. Now the pressure's on. Thompson there in really good pace to make the tackle. And Army gains, let's call it 7 on the defensive strike. Corbett tried to get a foot out for it. Now it's lost forward. It's played. Big flick across, and now we'll see if they can measure that or create that counterattack. Linda Greenwood. It's fielded. That could have been Asia. And referee says this time, Army, you are on the wrong side of the ball. And so the penalty will be not rolling. Unfortunate for Greenwood. Got caught under a little bit there, but smart play by SVU to try to keep him in. Ball finds touch in a very good spot if you are an SVU fan. And about 5 meters out, they'll have the line out. .67 on the clock. And then continues to tick.
Second attacking line out for SVU. Won their only opportunity in this half. It'll be interesting to see this far into West Point's defense what they decide to do.
They go short. Looks like West Point was able to steal it, so good read there in the air to get his hand down. And that is unfortunate for SVU, but West Point now going to try to get in position and get the exit. Big throw off there. Box kick is over. Still on the field, and now comes across. It's a good job by Trout to be there to make the tackle. Ball's still alive. This is where SVU is comfortable, and you can see Coy and the footwork that he brings. Thompson comes across. Ducked into the tackle is 21, who's Riddick Sau. Now the ball back, was knocked on. We're playing advantage. Big tackle, still alive. That could have been Tate Lewis, the 12. Now the ball out. Good job, good tackle there. That was Lasky. Still looking. Now the ball out. Coy looks to send it far across the field. Blinn there. One final offload. Good job there to make the tackle out wide. That could have been Greenwood. Now the work to be done. Asia. The tight head comes through, and then Fitisiamanu looked to be across the line, but driven back. Ball is now available. Army there right at the base, looking to absolutely lay their bodies out for this. And that time, the try is awarded. So good job by the SVU player to get his hands out and just touch it on the line and add 5 to the score line. So 51-25. And this is a physical contest. That was an absolute smashing series there in the corner.
That was also the word that was on my mind. Started really on the box kick, unfortunately missed touch. Well played through the hands by SVU to then start making our defense work. Some solid pattern, keeping ball in hand to get that try. Well done by SVU. A lot of hard work there.
So the kicker will line up 5 meters from the touchline. Again, no easy kick. With about 9.5 left in the game. Strike is up and pushed in front of the crossbar there. So that's going to leave it at 51-25. Referee says we're going to pause the game there. Not sure if we took a water break this go around, or is the referee calling the game? We're going to get a question mark here. Looks like a conversation with the captain. Let's see. So a little bit of a conversation by the West Point admin crew. They're going to call up to Coach Sherman and get a conversation. And it looks like that will be the end of the game. So at the 71st minute, we're going to call it and sign it off there. Final score of this one, 51-25. West Point, Army West Point, the Black Knights take the victory over Southern Virginia University. Good game. To me, there's plenty we can call and shout out there. I will say that Belaponi Asia, the number 3, and Savea Fitisiamanu, the number 8 for SVU, really stood out for me, in addition to Hanu Coy, the 10, who had some really good flickers of moments of real creativity. On the Army side, almost too many to call. I felt like I was calling Hemmons' name quite a bit today, did a lot of the hard work. Corbett was all over the field doing things. And I thought Schmidlin, again, put in some great minutes. Good shift, just as you might expect. How about you?
Hats off to SVU coming up here with 19 players, 11 sophomores and freshmen. I think Paul Lasicki has this team in the right direction. So job well to them to come up here and battle like that. I think a lot of West Point players put their hands up today, showed what they had. Excited to get back into Rugby East play as we continue this 2025-26 edition of Army Rugby.
And so with that, we're going to call it a day here on Night Vision. Thank you so much for joining us for the doubleheader. Again, 2 victories for the Army squad. Always happy to see Army women with a win over Brown and Army men with a win over Southern Virginia University. It's been great being with you. Thank you so much for once again joining us here on Night Vision. We'll be back soon with another rugby match. For those that are continuing on for the next game, that will be on the Army Parents channel. So for those of you who are joining, jump over there and take a look at the Army, the next game, and we'll take it from there. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.